I got a simple trick that you can do with a piece of a notebook, a folder, an iPad like I have here, really anything. And I'm going to show you the right position and the wrong position for the right hand. And it's really going to change how you deliver this club through impact, how you feel like you're really compressing the golf ball rather than flipping. So if you have trouble feeling like you come out of your posture, your kind of hips move toward the ball, you throw the hands and arms of the golf ball, maybe you don't have that forward shaft lean that you want, maybe you don't really feel like you're hitting down and compressing the golf ball, hitting the ball, and then taking that nice divot in front of it. If any of those things sound like you, this is really going to be a game changer from you, and it all ties back into how you properly move the right wrist in the golf swing. I can't wait to share it with you. I have a couple secrets to this, specific ways that you do this that are going to make all the difference in the world. Let's go and get started. All right, so let's talk about what's happening in bad golf swing, essentially. So if I'm throwing this club, I'm losing my lag here. I've done this before. Everybody's done it. Every single player that's ever picked up a club did this at some point and hit bad golf shots. We had to learn how to get this club lagging and to get the hands in front at contact. So when that cast is gone, or that lag is gone and we're casting a little bit, if we look at the right hand, there's two things that are going on. My thumb, if I'm looking at this, my hand goes down, that's called ulnar deviation. If my wrist goes up, that's called radial deviation. So the hand is going into what would be wrist down, ulnar deviation, kind of like I'm casting a fishing rod. The rod's already cast here. That's the first move. And I'm exaggerating a little bit, but that's exactly what's happening to a smaller degree. And then also my wrist goes flat. So if I'm pushing this club forward with my right hand, which so many golfers do, and I used to do myself, then my wrist goes flat there. It feels really powerful. That's why everybody does this motion. Because if I'm trying to hit the golf ball that way and I'm right-handed, it feels like I need to hit that thing by casting this club and pushing it forward with my right wrist like that. And even though it feels powerful, it actually slows down your club head speed, because when I cast it, it's moving too fast back here and actually decelerating as I'm coming into the shot. Here's the difference. Here's what I want to have happen. In a good swing, I want to have this right wrist angled back. That's what's called wrist extension. So I want to have it angled back as much as I can at that point in the swing, kind of this last parallel in the downswing. And I also want to have my wrist into what's called radial deviation. So I want to feel like instead of my wrist being down, I still have it up like that. So it's those two moves together that make this happen. When I'm there, now I want to go ahead and release this out in front. So let's imagine this like I have my iPad on my hand. So if I swing halfway down and I cast this, the face of my iPad, if I was reading my iPad, I would be able to see the face of my iPad. If I do it the right way, my wrist is angled back into wrist extension and up into radial deviation, you'll see that my iPad, the face of it, or how I would be reading on here, would now be pointing down to the target line. So you want to feel like your right hand is coming down the target line. The palm of your hand is going to the target line all the way through contact, and then you let it release. So that's the big key there. That right wrist needs to be facing the target line all the way down, and then it has to throw. The last piece is actually really simple. I have a great tip for that too, but that's going to feel like I'm smacking that club, like throwing that club through contact, like if I was smacking my hand here. I'm going to go ahead and let that release as I'm coming on through. So if I was tossing a golf ball, let's imagine I was going to toss to somebody 15, 20 feet in front of me. That's exactly what you would do anyways. You would have that wrist kind of angled back. As your body opened, you would then go ahead and release it. That's exactly the same thing we're trying to do in the golf swing. Have that iPad facing back toward the target line, and then from there, go ahead and flip and let it go. Most players that make this mistake either hit early and flip it, or if they do try to have that wrist angle back, they forget about letting it go and they lose all their speed. They just try to hold on. I don't want you to hold on. I want you to go ahead and let that wrist fly down the fairway. So if you're doing this right, the right wrist to you should feel like my palm is angled back toward the target line, and as I open my body, I'm just tossing the club down the fairway. And you'll see how now when I mention that, if you watch me swing, it'll look a lot like that when I make a golf swing. Let's go ahead and give it a whirl. So to me, it feels like I'm just turning, wrist angle back, and I'm just letting it fly. It feels very effortless. It feels like I can hit it very long way, a very powerful swing, very long way when I do that. And the speed all comes through contact now rather than prior to contact. Really handy. So as we start our downswing, we talked about how we have that hand out. That gets us in a great position here. And as we come through contact, we want to have the hands forward, leaning in front. Now you'll notice what I did there. As I leaned my hands forward, look what happens to the club face. Most players will do this when they first do that. As they get the hands in front, that club face opens up. Now I have a great bonus drill for you called the tennis racket drill, where I'm going to talk about exactly how to move the wrist to get that square, so that when I come through contact, I can hit that nice tight draw, leaning the hands in front, compressing the heck out of that golf ball, hitting the ground really consistently day in and day out. Man, it just makes it a lot more fun to play golf when you're doing that. So to see that video, all you need to do when I play the preview here in a second is just click the card that pops up on the screen. If you don't see a card, don't worry, just go ahead and click the link down below in the description. You'll get instant access to that video, and you'll learn how to pair up what we talked about here today with getting that contact to have that nice, tight, controlled draw. So best of luck, and I'll see you in the tennis racket drill. Good player problems. We're going to talk about shallowing that club shaft out as we're starting down, as we're doing this rotating of the face that we worked on in the last video. As we start this downswing, what you'll see with basically all of the top players is, instead of coming kind of over the top and letting the hands come out away from their body, letting the club come out away from their body, again coming down steep into the ball and then having to open up, kind of fillet open the face and add loft to it, the flattening of the shaft should happen as soon as we start down. So as we start this downswing, what we want to have happening here, you can imagine that if I draw a line from the hosel of my club up through my right elbow, that's my swing plane line, my elbow plane. As I go to the top of the swing, I'm going to be slightly above that. And then as I start down, I want my hands to start to shallow out. I want the club to shallow out inside of this elbow plane. And at the same time, I'm going to be rotating